Coming to you direct from Silencer Shop Studios, home of the Glass Case of Emotion.
SilencerShop.com, the easiest way to buy silencers online, period.
Stand by for education, enlightenment, enjoyment, and entertainment.
He's not here to talk about your feelings. He's not here to say what you want to hear. He's here to say what needs to be said.
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, please welcome your host, the pimp hand of America, Professor Paul Markle.
Yes, indeed, saying what needs to be said each and every day, worldwide, 24 hours a day, on demand. Doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter what time it is. Well, I mean, it does matter where you are. I don't know if we're... I think right now we're just limited to planet Earth. Although you might... Do they have internet on the space station? I bet they do, Jared, don't you think? I bet on the International Space Station they have internet.
They probably do. How else would they communicate?
Well, but they also, I would venture to say that since it's an international cooperative amongst other countries, that they probably have a firewall and they don't allow the word gun because it scares people. What do you think? I think that is probably correct.
I try not to think.
You try not to think?
It hurts my brain.
It hurts your brain. Well, it is Tuesday, or at least this is Tuesday's episode. We're on, is that number true? 379er?
To what?
This episode 379er?
Oh, yeah, 379.
Wow. We're pushing up on 400 here pretty close. We're going to hit 400 way before the new year. Hell, we'll hit it in next month.
Yeah.
Wow, it's crazy. You're welcome, Franks. You're welcome. Nationwide, worldwide, 157 countries or something crazy like that.
179.
I don't know. Really? 179?
I'll check right now.
Did we have the debate about how many countries in the world? That's right. Depending on who you ask, they recognize Taiwan or they don't.
I always wondered if once somebody downloads us in a country, if they're like, leave that country,
they're in Tanzania.
Does that drop off the stats?
No, I wouldn't. I don't think so.
Because technically, I mean, we would be in that country.
Well, I mean, if someone was in that country and downloaded the show and put it on their device, on their iPhone or whatever.
I'm going to Geographic right now.
Geo. He's going to get Geographic. He's going to get all Geographic on you. Welcome.
159, not 179.
Okay, 159. There you go. Only 159 countries worldwide.
Out of 197 or 199 or something.
I don't know. We already had that conversation. Hey, Jared, tell them about the Student of the Gun tat. Contest,
there is a gun tat, and it exists, and you can get it from the Student of the Gun mobile app. But I think what he wanted me to talk about was... Yes, I think he wanted me to talk about the Duracoat gun tattoo contest that we're having. And if you get your gun tattoo from Duracoat, you can go to LauerWeaponry.com, get it there, or you can go to the Student of the Gun mobile app, click the gun tat tab, pick up the gun tat, do something cool with it. Be creative. Do a coffee cup, a gun, a computer... your glass on your glass case of emotion. You could do anything. You could Duracoat your TV for all I care.
Go crazy.
Yes, use that gun tat and then post pictures on social media, which means Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. Hashtag it or # student for life, student FOR life. So we can pick out somebody. Somebody's going to win. What are they going to win?
Well, they're going to win the opportunity to come on Student of the Gun Radio, and whoever puts up the coolest, neatest, most interesting picture, we're going to contact you. And even if you don't win, you're a winner. That's the thing that is the cool thing about this whole contest. Even if you don't win, you're still a winner because what? Well, you have that project that you can be proud of. Well, we're going to contact you. We're going to bring you on Student of the Gun Radio, and you can tell at least 159 English-speaking countries all about it. That is the catch. You do have to speak English. Sorry, but sorry to be xenophobic on you there. All right, so get on it. Go to LauerWeaponry.com, or you can go to Brownells. Now, I don't know. I'm not sure if the gun tats are available on Brownells, but I know if you've got the mobile app, Jared is such a ninja that he put a little button on there that says gun tat, and you just tap it, and it takes you directly to the page. So there's
I'm not seeing any pictures hashtag Student for Life on Twitter, at least.
What? I bet there's some on the F book, on the Foxtrot uniform book.
I do have something really cool to share with you guys.
No.
And actually, I did that on Facebook already and maybe Twitter. I don't remember if I did it on Twitter. But Christopher, one of our members, he did an awesome illustration on what being a student of the gun means to him. And
oh, yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And he said he's doing 2 more, so he's doing 3. But that is up there, and he actually drew that with his own fingers, so it's pretty cool.
I thought he used a pencil.
Well, whatever. Maybe he dipped his fingers in ink and then.
All right. Well, cool. Yeah, do that. And let me get back to my show notes here. Who else? Oh, it's time for us to listen to Alex.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's about that time.
Oh. Well, she's not here right now.
She needs to bring me some coffee is what she needs to do.
Alex, we need you to come over here. Here she comes.
Attention, new listeners. We produced a free training video series called 7 Training Tips That Could Save Your Life. We want you to have access to this life-saving information. Get instant access now at studentofthegun.com. Do you watch Student of the Gun TV, read the blog, and follow us on Facebook? If you answered no to any of those questions, you are wrong, but you can easily fix yourself. Go to studentofthegun.com to find everything SOTG.
All right. Now, man, we've got all kinds of contests. We're just giving away stuff like crazy people here. Have you noticed that? And it wasn't on purpose. We just do. We're giving away an Ox Box coffee box, 1 per month for 3 months. And we're doing the Duracoat thing. And we also, our friends at SWAT Fuel have the it's the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500. And so what SWAT Fuel did is they went and secured 4 tickets. And they're going to give them away to a SWAT Fuel customer. So if you purchase SWAT Fuel from their store, their online store, swatfuelstore.com, anytime between now and the end of May, you are automatically eligible. Now, you want to be using the promo code SOTG2015 because if you do that, you're going to save some money. And saving money is a good thing. Yes, it is. It's a good thing. Frog Lube. It's green. It's minty fresh. You put it on your guns. You put it on your knives. You put it on your hinges. I don't care where you put it on your steel drum. Frog Lube your sword, man. Just do it. It's extreme. You know, we need to get Matt some Frog Lube because we were talking about beard oil and I joked about Frog Lube as beard oil and he's like, "What's Frog Lube?" I'm like, dude, it's time to continue your education. Crossbreed Holsters, the makers of what? The makers of the Bruce Jenner Commemorative, also known as the Super Tuck Deluxe, the Freedom Carry, the Purse Defender, the Bedside Backup, the Ram Mount. Holy crap, should I go on? Well, I could go on, but here's what you need to do. Just go to crossbreedholsters.com and check out all their wares right there. All right, this story, this is one of those, Paul, how do you know that you're on the right track doing the right thing stories? Well, it's this story right here. If you have been paying attention for the last few weeks, what you will know is that a friend of ours, John Bates, who is he's a ninja, he's a dude, but he ended up lost in the woods. And we had him on the radio, and he talked about it. He talked about his experience. And that was the that's how we knew that we needed to do what we did. Right, Jared? And Jared's scratching his head, and he's saying yes.
Yes.
No, we were at the REI shop, and Jared was looking at the first aid emergency stuff. And,
like the emergency kits that aren't actually emergency kits.
And he said, this stuff is crap, Dad. We need to make our own. I mean, we're already doing pocket lifesavers, so let's do this one. Well, we said, okay, that's a valid idea, but what? Right. We didn't do anything. And then that happened to our friend John. He got lost. He fell into the river. He had his phone on him. But generally, when you take your phone swimming, it doesn't fare very well. And he could have used a few items, just a few items, to keep him going, to keep him alive. And we said, all right, that's it. We know that we need to come up with a Student of the Gun sanctioned, designed wilderness survival kit. And we did. We actually came up with 2 of them. We came up with a compact kit, and I'm sorry, I'm moving my chair around here. We came up with a compact kit, and then we came up with a trauma kit, which has all of the cool trauma stuff that our Pocket Lifesaver trauma kit has in it, but it also has survival stuff. Well, we did that, and we thought we were doing right, and we, made it available, and we're moving on with our lives. And we're driving back from Atlanta, and I see this story. Missing North Carolina mother and daughter hikers found safe in New Zealand forest. And I was like, well, what is this all about? And we looked and read, and the story's from the gma.yahoo.com. A mother and a daughter from North Carolina went missing Tuesday while hiking in New Zealand. They've been found after reportedly spending days huddled together for warmth and rationing their supplies, said local police. Carol Lloyd, 45, and her daughter Rachel Lloyd, 22, were spotted in Tararua, T-A-R-A-R-U-A, Tararua. Right, Jared?
I had a stupid pop-up, so I can't really...
Tararua Forest Park. By a search helicopter. The mother and daughter made 2 help signs and arrows pointing their direction. Okay, good job. You did a good job there. Jason Diedrich, the chief pilot, says the photo of the help sign, and you can see the photo on the show notes. The pair were huddled together for warmth and rationed their supplies. They were airlifted to a hospital and are in good health. So go team. Good job there. Rachel, the daughter, was very weak and dehydrated, and they had very little food over the course of 4 days. Rachel graduated from da-da-da-da-da. And, well, how did this all come about? Well, it came about because they were going to go on just a one-day hike. They had embarked on a one-day hike but got lost and were stranded in a rugged part of the park. The pair's rental car was found abandoned 2 days after they failed to check in at their hotel, and people started looking for them. Now, I'm not going to spend this entire show, doing the wilderness survival thing. I'm not going to do that. I can tell you this, though, that there are some very simple things. Nobody ever thinks it's going to happen to them. Is that correct, Jared? I mean, it's like, yes. Well, why should I do that? People ask me, why do you carry a flashlight in the daytime? Have you ever had that, Jared? Your experience? People see you pull out your Surefire or whatever, and they're like, "You carry a flashlight on you all the time, even in the daytime?" Yeah, we were.
Yes,
we were at the Friday evening, afternoon in the GICC. We were in the convention center.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the workers or something, I don't know how it happened, but the event was still going on, and somebody hit the lights, and they went out. So, and I pulled up my flashlight, and I shined it around. And the fellows were like, "Why would you ever carry a flashlight? What do you think? You think you're going to get stuck in the dark? Why do you have a fire extinguisher in your house, in your kitchen? Do you play with matches? Are you reckless with fire?" No. Why do you have one of those? Because I know that bad things can happen and I need to take care of them. Why do you have a first aid kit in your house? Do you play with razors? You play with razor blades? Are you clumsy? Are you accident prone? No. But people will go out. They will step off the blacktop. They will step off of the concrete, and they will go out into the woods with this. Well, I don't need to take that, or I don't need to take that, because I'll just be gone for a day. I'll just be gone for heck. With our friend John, he's like, I'm just going to walk away from the campsite, and I'll be back in a half hour. And so I don't need to take all the gee whiz survival stuff until you do. What have we said, Jared? We've been preaching guns, knives, flashlights, all that. If it's not attached to your body when you need it, it might as well not exist. Well, come on, Paul. I mean, you can't carry all this stuff. You can't. I mean, you think people should carry these big packs full of stuff? No, something super simple. You have the knowledge and the gear, and it's not really expensive. It's not really heavy. It's not really large. And I'm telling you, if I can do anything from the experience with our friend John, who cheated death, and John actually wrote all of his experience down, and I have it, and I'm editing it, and we're going to put it into a book. We're going to do kind of a wilderness survival book based upon real life experiences of humans in survival situations, some who survived and some who didn't, quite frankly, and why that is. But every once in a while, I just get something will drop in front of me, and it says to me, you're on the right path. You're doing what you should be doing. Keep doing it. And this situation right here was 100% one of those things. It was 100% a situation where, man, we had the discussion. Jared brought it up. We kind of like filed it back in the back of our brains. We're like, well, that's neat, but Then John got lost. We're like, this is it. We're going to do this. It's like the impetus for the
Honey Badger.
No, not the Honey Badger. For the actual Pocket Lifesaver.
Oh yeah.
And I knew that at that moment, I knew I needed to do something. I knew something needed to be done. And that's what we did. And so we came across this story, and I thought, wow, we need to, share that with people. Because, well, what have we talked about previously, Jared? A wise man learns from his mistakes. A wiser man learns from the mistakes of others so that you don't make them. You pay attention. You're like, wow, that guy made a mistake, and it cost him. Or he did something wrong, or he could have done something better. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do one better. I'm going to use that example. And that's what we're going to do with John. And
he's coming down to our studio.
Yes, so John's going to be down here at the end of May. So
I've always wondered that some people ask you for advice, or you give them advice because they're your friend. And then they're like, well, it's... sometimes I just need to learn the hard way. I need to bump my head by myself, and then I'll learn. I'm like, but why can't you learn from somebody else?
Well, I mean, you can learn the hard way.
But why would you want to choose that route? Why would you say, oh, well, it's better for me to learn the hard way?
I don't know, because, well, I think when someone says, it's just better for me to learn the hard way, they never take into account that the hard way might mean like dying or permanent injury. People don't ever think that. They don't think there's going to be any long-term consequences for their mistakes.
Yeah,
there should just be a short-term consequence, and they move on.
I always felt like that saying, "Oh, I just need to learn the hard way," is more of a cop-out.
Yeah, because
dealing with
that gives me an excuse to not take your advice and do what you're telling me to do.
Yeah.
Like if you tell me that I should do something and you're like, I just need to learn the hard way, then you're giving yourself an excuse not to do it. You just All right, well, take that with you, and I hope that, and it's the season. It is now in the northern hemisphere. It is the season for people to leave the blacktop, to go out into the woods, into the wilds, into the whatever. And I hope that each and every one of you that chooses to do that is prepared.
Go get your kit. You can just go to PocketLifesaver.com. You don't have to get a kit, but at least go get some information. There's, I think in the survival videos, the survival kits, both of those kits have a video that kind of describes all of the contents and what you do with it in there. So go to PocketLifesaver.com, click on it, and at least partake in the free information that we put up there.
All right, we've got some public school psychological terrorism for you guys. We got a report. It comes from Texas. And as you know, if you're a hip student of the gun, we have a special theme song just for this situation.
When we grew up in the school, there were certain teachers who would hurt the children anyway.
Outpouring their derision upon everything we did, exposing every weakness. That's right. That's Pink Floyd from The Wall. Both the movie The Wall and the record The Wall. And that is our public school psychological terrorism update theme. Now, every once in a while we encounter a situation or a story that seems so bizarre and so, quite frankly, stupid that you think it's a spoof or it's from The Onion or whatever. No, it's not. This actually happened again. And Jared, this has happened before in the world. And you'd think that if this happened before in the world, that people would get a clue and say, okay, we need to fix ourselves from being so retarded. But apparently they don't. And the story is from ABC13.com. Lunchroom lunacy. ISD cops, that would be Independent School District. ISD cops investigate $2 bill spent on lunch. And you're saying, I know what you're saying out there right now. You're thinking, no, this is an old story, Paul. I remember this story, and this is old. This already happened, where the clerk called the police to report a counterfeit bill, and the police showed up, and it was a $2 bill. And the police said, it was at a mall or something, wasn't it, Jerry, the first story? Because the clerk called mall security, and mall security was like, we got a counterfeiter here. And then the police showed up, and they looked at the mall clerk and the security guy and said, okay, you two need to never breed, because you are messing up the gene pool with your stupid genes. This makes it even worse. Houston. Dateline, Houston, Texas. When you think of a felony forgery, your thoughts might turn to Al Capone or Bonnie and Clyde shooting it out with Texas Rangers. I don't know that either one of them were ever involved in forgery, but whatever. Not for some local cops. For one day, public enemy number one when it came to forgery was a 13-year-old 8th grader, Denisha Neal, at Fort Bend Independent School District, Krista McCullough Middle School. Wow, that's a long name. Now 14, Denisha, and this story is datelined April 28th, 2016. Now 14, Denisha was hoping to eat the day's lunch of chicken tenders with her classmates using a $2 bill given to her by her grandmother when she was stopped by the long arm of the law. I went to the lunch line and they said my $2 bill was a fake, Denisha told Ted Oberg Investigates. They gave it to the police. That would be the school resource officer, the cops that are stationed in your kids' schools. Because unlike the 60s and 70s and 80s even, when I went to school and graduated in the 80s and even in the 90s, today we have allowed our nation to devolve into such a state that we feel the need to station police officers in our public schools. That was something that when I was growing up, if there were cops in the schools, it was like the really bad neighborhoods in Detroit or the really bad neighborhoods in New York or what have you, or Chicago. That wasn't an everyday thing. It wasn't a common thing. We didn't feel the need to put police officers in our kids' schools because we hadn't just given up on life and allowed the criminal element to just do what they want. But that is a topic for another day. And it is actually, quite frankly, it's a national shame and embarrassment that we feel the need, that we've become so weak and we've allowed the vermin to become so emboldened in the United States that we feel the need to just put cops in our kids' schools. But anyway, going on. So they gave it to the police, said the story. So you're thinking, okay, the lunch lady, not the sharpest knife in the drawer, right? The lunch lady that's working the register. So little Denisha comes up and she hands over the cash. And the clerk sees a $2 bill and apparently doesn't know that in the United States of America that a $2 bill is legal currency. Hasn't gotten that memo. Okay. But so they call the police. So you think an officer of the law, a Texas state certified peace officer who I'm guessing had to take a test to get their certification. I mean, they got to have a little bit of G2, right, Jared? I mean, you'd think that this is an educated human being here. I mean, we've granted them the authority to make life and death decisions. We've given them, by issuing them the shiny badge and the polyester uniform, we allow them to detain citizens. We give them the authority to detain citizens. That's a pretty big deal. So you would think that they would be, smarter than the average bear, or at least sharper than the school lunch lady clerk, right? Apparently, in Houston, that's not the case. Tell me again how great Houston is and how I need to shut up about Houston. I'm waiting. Go ahead. They gave it to the police. Then they sent me to the police office. The police officer said I could be in big trouble. What? So a state certified police officer is handed a $2 bill, a genuine United States currency. And instead of saying, oh, it's a $2 bill, duh, go on with your business, the police officer tells the junior high child that she's in trouble for, why would she be in trouble? For a third-degree felony forgery. Wow. It goes on. Jared, should I continue with this?
Yes.
This stupidity.
It gets so much worse.
It says, okay, so school officials school officials. Now we got the whole, like, we went from the lunch lady to the school cops here, the resource officers. Now we have school officials called Denisha's grandmother. And they started questioning Denisha's grandmother. They asked her, did you give Denisha a $2 bill for lunch? And then they told the grandma that it was a fake. Then the Fort Bend, listen to this. Then the Fort Bend ISD police investigated the $2 bill with the vigor of an episode of Dragnet. Even though at the school, 82% of the kids get free and reduced lunches, the alleged theft of $2 worth of chicken nuggets led to the officer, and it says whose salary is $45,000 a year, to the convenience store that gave the grandmother the $2 bill. Next stop, the cop went to a bank to examine the bill. Finally, the mystery was solved. The $2 bill wasn't fake at all. It was real. Holy hell. He brought me back the $2 bill, said Denisha Joseph. He didn't apologize. He should have, and the school should have, Joseph. Who's Joseph? Sharon K. Sharon K. Joseph is the grandmother, because they use the last name here. Joseph said. It's kind of weird when they have a man's name. They brought me back the $2 bill, Joseph said. And that's the grandmother. He didn't apologize. He should have. You think? And the school should have, because they pulled Denisha out of lunch. She didn't eat lunch, and she was detained in the police office. Holy hell. My brain hurts. My brain hurts so much. My head hurts. Can I say what's Paul's favorite thing to say when he encounters this public school psychological terrorism? Jared. Get your kids out of public schools. And if you're not willing to do that, then you and all the other parents that know what a $2 bill is need to take control of your local schools. They belong to you. Your children don't belong to the state. I know the state is trying to convince you that they own your children, but they don't. Holy hell. It's just, oh my Lord.
It just amazes me that this dude went to the convenience store and then to the bank, and the bank was probably like, you're an idiot.
Can you imagine a uniformed police officer walking? Now, why did he think it was counterfeit? Now, you say, Paul, people do counterfeit money in America. I'm like, yeah, I understand that. You do know that when you counterfeit a bill, there's actually a cost in involved in counterfeiting a bill. You know that, right, Jared?
Yeah.
Like, you have to actually spend money to counterfeit. And that's why small bills are hardly ever counterfeited, because it costs so much to do that, to actually go through the whole procedure of the counterfeiting. That's why the $20 bill is the most popular bill to counterfeit. Because when I went to police school, what'd you got? Did you learn that in drug school, Cheech? Well, when I went to police school back when I was a policeman, we went through counterfeiting. We talked about it, and they had examples of counterfeited bills, and some of them looked good, and some of them were just ridiculously bad. But they said that the cost involved in counterfeiting currency can be anywhere from $1 to $2 to $3 per counterfeit bill. But so if you take... And what they do, you know the trick about the bleach in the money, right, Jared?
Yeah.
And they take a dollar bill, they bleach it out till it's just white, so the paper's good, and then they reprint it so it looks like a 20. So they invested the dollar, and then they invested whatever it took to do that, and they make a 20. So let's say their investment in it is $3. They make illegal 20s or counterfeit 20s. So there you go. You got a $17 profit. But if you to actually counterfeit a $2 bill, the counterfeiter would probably lose money. And so all your reasonable people out there are like, well, Paul, there is counterfeiting in America. Yes, I understand that there's counterfeiting in America. What did they take the pen thing and run it on there? No. Their whole reasoning behind believing that it was a counterfeit wasn't because there was something wrong with the bill itself. It was because it was a $2 bill. Not one adult human in this whole process was able to raise their hand and say, whoa, hey, all of you retarded chimpanzees there, all of you artards, just stop for a second. You know that in the United States of America, there is legal tender that is a $2 bill. You know this, right? Is this new to you? Is this news to you people? Oh, let me guess. You never saw a $2 bill when you were playing Candy Crush, so it doesn't exist in your world. A police officer? How much taxpayer money did this artard spend, like investigating, making follow-up calls, going to the convenience store, going to the bank, only to give it over to the bank, and the bank puts it under their little thing, and they're like, yeah, it's real. Why are we even here talking about this? What would indicate to you that this was a counterfeit $2 bill?
And it says here that the bill is so old, dating back to 1953. The school's counterfeit pin didn't work on it. So,
really,
it's a great example of why relying on something other than your brain.
Yeah, how about you use your brain?
Yeah, like this pen didn't work. And
the overreach.
Thought it was a $2 bill.
Did this dude really think that this little 13-year-old girl went in her basement and was counterfeiting twos?
I don't know.
Here at SilencerShop.com, we normally focus on making the world a quieter place. Not today. Rule 41F takes effect soon, making silencer ownership more complicated. The good news is SilencerShop.com can help, but don't delay. Purchase any in-stock silencer by July 6th, and Silencer Shop guarantees to get your Form 4 submitted and execute your transfer before deadline under current rules, or give you $100. The Powered by Silencer Shop guarantee. Details and restrictions at SilencerShop.com.
All right. Well, this is our Quiet Time Moment brought to you by Silencer Shop. And one of the things that I like to do on the Quiet Time Moment, as many of you know, is I like to recommend reading. I like to recommend books because that is my personal quiet time. When it's time for Professor Paul to push everything away, to tune out for a little bit, in my quiet time, I usually get a quality hand-rolled cigar and either an adult beverage or a quality cup of coffee, good coffee, because life is too short to drink crappy coffee. And I will sit down with a book, and I will read. And most of the time, 99% of the time, it is a Dead Tree version of something. We talked about the Kindle thing last week. But this book is actually something that probably 30 years ago. Holy crap, Jared! Look at my face through the glass case of motion. It was 30 years ago that my friend Mike talked to me about the Norwegian resistance and so forth. During World War II, as many of you may know, during World War II, when the Nazi forces and the Japanese imperialist forces, when they occupied countries, often what would happen was they would form resistance or guerrilla organizations who stayed behind lines, and they would provide intel or intelligence gathering and information that they would feed back to the Allied forces who weren't there yet but were going to be coming to invade and so on and so forth. And last couple of weeks, I actually read a book called Rice and Salt, and we recommended it. We talked about it, and it was about the occupation of the Philippines, which most of you probably didn't learn in school. And this time, I've got a book, and I was looking for resistance movements, guerrilla movements, and so forth, like that went on during World War II. And so what I did is I purchased this book, and it's called Norway, 1940 to 45, The Resistance Movement by Olav Riste, R-I-S-T-E. And I got it through Amazon, of course, because that's how you do it. And the book details the situation that led up to the invasion of Norway by the Nazi forces and basically the occupation of Norway from 1940 to 1945 and the role that the resistance movement played in occupied Norway. And it's very interesting to me because it wasn't just when people hear guerrilla movement, they think of the people living out in the jungles and the woods, and they blow up bridges and railroads and stuff like that. And it's not necessarily all about that, because quite frankly, there was a lot of resistance by the passive resistance. For instance, they organized labor strikes and so forth to slow down the production, because the Nazis wanted to use Norway as like a big breadbasket. They wanted to take their natural resources and their food, and that's what they did. In large part, they took the natural resources and food and what have you, and they shipped them across the water back to Germany, and they gave them to the German military and so forth. And so what the Norwegian people did is they resisted in various different ways. But what I learned from this book, and I didn't realize it, is there was actually, Jared, did you know that there was a Nazi or nationalist party in Norway that didn't see the invasion as a bad thing? They actually saw it as a good thing. And they tried to align themselves, or they did align themselves with the German National Socialist Party. And National Socialism is shortened as to mean Nazi. I know a lot of you went to public schools and you don't know that, but Nazi is actually short for National Socialist Workers' Party, the German National Socialist Workers' Party.
Why Nazi?
Because NA and Nazi, National Socialist, N-A-Z-I, Nazi. That's where that comes from.
It doesn't even work.
It does if you speak in German.
Okay, yeah.
It does if you're speaking
I don't remember.
Deutsch.
I don't remember what
it's Deutsch.
In German.
My point is this, though. Not everybody was down with it. Everyone thinks in the United States, everyone thinks that, American Revolution, everybody in the colonies was all for the revolution. Woohoo! Waving flags and stuff. No. A lot of neighbors were turning on their neighbors. Norway, the Nazi army, the German army invades and takes over their country. And you'd think, man, everybody in the country is mad, they're angry, they're going to organize and resist. No. Actually, a lot of them didn't. A lot of them collaborated. A lot of them worked with the invading army. A lot of them, and there's actually several examples in this book, I'm about 50% through it, of Norwegian citizens turning in and informing on their fellow citizens, because the fellow citizens weren't down with the whole Nazification program. You're never going to have a situation where 100% of the population is aligned. So how do you win? You need to fight harder. You need to resist more. Your resolve needs to be there. and it needs to be a multi-tiered, multi-layer resolve. And I recommend it. It took me about a week or so to get this book because it's not out of print. Well, I guess it is out of print. It's one of those books that if you can find one, get it. Now, I'm sure that there's some of them are still out there. I would recommend it. It's very illustrative. And when you read the stuff in there, you think, man, this kind of sounds like what's going on in the world today. I know, it's crazy. What did Solomon say? Nothing new under the sun. All right, cats and kittens and all that. Thank you for joining us for yet another episode of Student of the Gun Radio. And I will leave you with this one last piece of advice. A $2 bill looks just like a 5 in a strip club. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
Do you know somebody that is going hiking this summer? Do you know somebody that has kids that are in public school? If you do, share this episode with one person, just that person that needs to hear this show. I believe that everybody that has kids in public school or in school, period, the parents should listen to this and be aware of what is happening in those schools. So share this with one person, and it's simple as that.